We're learning about the moments just before a James City County police officer shot his sergeant outside a Williamsburg bar.
Michael Rusk is facing charges in connection to that January shooting, which seriously hurt Sergeant Christopher Gibson. Investigators initially said the two officers got into a fight after a night of drinking. But as 10 on Your Side's Julie Millay learned, the shooting might have been about much more than a bar fight.
Yeah,
Julie?
Tom and Amy, investigators simply said the two officers involved in the shooting were known to each other. Now we're learning what that might really mean. The alleged shooter, Michael Rusk, says he pulled the trigger in self-defense because of unwanted advances by his sergeant. We're about to share exclusive surveillance video and the 911 call from the shooting, which we played for Michael Rusk's family for the first time. Would you like to hear it?
I'd love to hear it.
For the first time, Jason Rusk is hearing the 911 call his son made in the early morning hours of January 25th.
I shot Sergeant Gibson.
Do what?
I shot Sergeant Gibson. I pulled a gun on him because he was advancing on me.
Is he breathing?
He just fell out.
James City County police officer Michael Rusk called 911 after he allegedly shot his superior officer, Sergeant Christopher Gibson, outside a Williamsburg bar, where the two had been drinking together. Video given exclusively to 10 on Your Side shows the two officers before this happened.
I shot him on his right arm.
Okay, I need you to take a deep breath for me, okay? Is he breathing?
Trying.
Is he breathing?
I'm trying to save his life.
The 911 call goes on for just over 5 minutes. That's when responding officers show up to find Gibson had been shot 3 times, seriously hurt in his stomach and shoulder. Court documents show Gibson told officers Rusk shot him after a verbal argument. But Rusk, his dad, and his lawyers say it was much more than that.
You know, it started to get creepy.
Jason Rusk says his son told him about unwanted attention he got from his superior officer leading up to the shooting, and that he had reported it to others on the force.
There was a year's worth of grooming that had taken place.
Rusk says his son is the victim of unwanted sexual advances and had been for a long time.
Extremely inappropriate touching, stalking, the grooming, the previous to the incident assaults.
We reached out to Gibson several times to ask him about these allegations. He declined to speak with us. We also requested from JCCPD a record of any complaints filed against Gibson during his time there. We were denied. The video shows the officers at the bar prior to the shooting. You can see them sitting across from each other at the start. Then you'll see Gibson move in to sit next to Rusk. Gibson reaches for Rusk's hand under the table, which seems to be met with hesitation from the younger officer. Then, just about an hour before the shooting, the two are seen leaving together. After Gibson puts his hand on Rusk's shoulder, you see Rusk forcefully push him off and put a finger in his face before walking away. We don't know what happened next, but after the shooting, Rusk makes this claim to the 911 dispatcher.
I told him to stop. He kept going. I thought he was going to rape me. Help me. Help.
If our client was a female, this case would be drastically different.
Rusk's lawyer says the video and 911 call make a clear case for self-defense.
I think it'll show that certain steps weren't taken that needed to be taken.
The attorney says those steps, like looking into Rusk's claims of unwanted sexual advances, could have prevented what Rusk's dad calls a tragedy, which will affect his son for the rest of his life.
He told people from the get-go that he was sexually assaulted. He said no, and he kept on. He said no, and he kept on. If I had a daughter in the same position, we wouldn't even be here. We wouldn't have an innocent person fighting for their freedom.
Williamsburg officers are investigating the shooting. They had no comment on this story. James City County Police also declined to comment. Calls to the prosecutor trying the case were unreturned.
In this day and age, qualified immunity remains one of the deadliest threats to U.S. citizens. There is no doubt, and as witnessed daily, that as long as police officers in our uncivilized nation are encouraged to murder without consequences, we can expect no improvements to our life expectancy. According to the United States National Academy of Sciences, and I quote, "Police in the United States kill far more people than do police in other advanced industrial democracies. To date, Colorado, New Mexico, and New York have repealed qualified immunity, and we remain hopeful that in the near future, serial killers with badges will be held accountable for the unreasonable execution of citizens. Furthermore, the Academy of Sciences additionally says, journalists have stepped into this void and initiated a series of systematic efforts to track police-involved killings. And I bid to you, my fellow citizens, that this rampage of certified murders must be stopped for the safety of our children, handicapped, and veterans. Please support the New Institute for Justice and their Americans Against Qualified Immunity campaign. Check them out at www.aaqi.com. You'll also find them on Facebook and Twitter. That's Americans Against Qualified Immunity. That's all for now, my brothers and sisters. Stay safe and always film the police.